Vasudevaya. Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiriya Nashtuprahim Shavadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Ter Bhavati Nashtaki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 9, the most confidential knowledge, text number 5 onwards. Nacha matstani bhutani pashyame yogam aishvaram bhut brinna cha bhutastho mam atma bhut bhavana. And yet everything that is created does not rest in me. Behold my mystic opulence. Although I am the maintainer of all living entities, and although I am everywhere, I am not a part of this cosmic manifestation. For myself is the very source of creation. So previous verse he said, by me in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I'm not in them. And now he says, everything that is created does not rest in me. That's kind of conflicting. What is he saying? The Lord says that everything is resting on him, like the last verse. This should not be misunderstood. The Lord is not directly concerned with the maintenance and sustenance of this material manifestation. Sometimes we see a picture of Atlas holding the globe on his shoulders. He seems to be very tired holding this great earthly planet. Such an image should not be entertained in connection with Krishna's upholding this created universe. He says that although everything is resting on him, he is aloof, means he is separate from this. The resting on him means resting on his energies. The planetary systems are floating in space, and this space is the energy of the Supreme Lord. But he is different from space. He is differently situated. Therefore, the Lord says, although they are situated on my inconceivable energy, as a Supreme Personality of Godhead, I am aloof from them. This is the inconceivable opulence of the Lord. It's just like materially we can understand. Suppose like Prime Minister Modi, he is the Prime Minister of the country, he is the CEO of India. But he is not sitting in each and every office or each and every department comes under his government. There are other people who are running those departments, running those offices. So they can be, although, I mean, this is mundane example, if we consider them as energy of the Prime Minister, so yes, as Prime Minister, he's in his office or doing his, but everything is resting on him. But Krishna and Krishna's creation is much different because everything is also energy of Krishna. Everything that is created also energy of Krishna and sustained by energy of Krishna, but not personally Krishna. In the Nirukti Vedic dictionary, it is said, Yujyate anen durghateshu kayeshu. The Supreme Lord is performing inconceivably wonderful pastimes, displaying his energy. His person is full of different potent energies, and his determination is itself actual fact. In this way, the personality of God it is to be understood. We may think of doing something, but there are so many impediments, and sometimes it's not possible to do as we like. But when Krishna wants to do something, simply by his willing, everything is performed so perfectly that one cannot imagine how it is being done. Nicely, Prabhupada. We may think of doing something, but there are so many impediments. Just like suppose we want to manufacture something, create something, maybe, just an automobile. So many obstacles, so many impediments. funds, and then creating a factory, you need a space for that, and then bringing machinery, bringing people in, getting all sorts of permits, and then designing an automobile, what kind we like, what color, this feature, that feature. We can only imagine how long will it take for somebody, a newcomer, to manufacture an automobile. But those who have already established, even whatever design they have established, like Honda car, okay, they can manufacture it fast. But to change the design, it will take very long time. But does it take long for Krishna to? Of course, he himself is not designing, his energy is taking care of this human body. It's a very, very complex system. It takes birth, not even takes birth. I mean, starts assembling in the womb of mother. How? What is a manufacturing unit? Nobody can tell. It just happens. And then the baby comes out of the womb of the mother and starts growing. I mean, have you ever seen a car that is growing? From a little car to a bigger car? No. The organs start getting bigger and the body is growing to a certain age, a certain limit, and then remains there for some time and starts dwindling, and then death. Just one human body is so complicated, and the human body is like itself since the beginning of time. No changes. 2 eyes, one mouth, 2 ears, one nose. Same thing, same design, because it is perfect. And this is inconceivable potential. And this is just one example. There's so many others. Animals, plants, birds, fishes, insects. This this is what Prabhupada, we just cannot imagine how it is being done. The Lord explains this fact. Although he is a maintainer and sustainer of the entire material manifestation, he does not touch this material manifestation. Simply by his supreme will, everything is created, everything is sustained, everything is maintained, and everything is annihilated. There is no difference between his mind and himself, as there is a difference between ourselves and our present material mind, because he is absolute spirit. Simultaneously, the Lord is present in everything, yet the common man cannot understand how he is also present personally. He is also present personally and is also present in. He is different from his material manifestation, yet everything is resting on him. This is explained here as Yogam Aishwaram, the mystic power of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So when he says, I'm in everything, then that is where the Mayavadis say, then he cannot have a form. See, we have a form and we are not everywhere. We are at a certain one location. He says he is everywhere, so he cannot have a form. But this is their problem. They put a condition on the Lord. He cannot have a form. Why cannot he have a form and still be everywhere? How can we put condition on it? And he is everywhere as Paramatma, he is everywhere. And he is also as Krishna, he is in Golok Vrindavan, or with his devotees, he is there also. There's a difference between us and God. Just like this morning, I was just, somebody had sent a video, I was watching it, and this old man, I don't know his name, maybe he is or he was, I don't even know, he's living. So he is giving a lecture and an audience is there, somebody sent him a question, Does God exist? And he is explaining in his own way that, oh, we have read about God that he is omnipresent and omniscient, omnipotent, and he has made us in his image. So if we are his image, are we omniscient, omnipotent? No. I'm like, this guy doesn't know anything. He has created us in his image, but this guy is thinking this body of this body. Body can look like he, when Krishna descends as human, looking like human, but he's not exactly human. Well, so he has created us with this two hand, two legs figure, but this body is not permanent. That he clearly explains in Bhagavad Gita. Soul is permanent. So there's a difference between body and soul. But then so many people, they just try to give their own interpretations, and people just don't know whom to follow. So many people were sitting in the audience and listening to him. Wastage of time. Complete wastage. Just read exactly what's in Bhagavad Gita, and it will be clear. And then when the questioner asked, does God exist? And he was trying to explain God as Bhagwan. Well, Krishna, Vedvyasi himself wrote for Krishna, Shri Bhagwan Uvacha in Bhagavad Gita. So it's so clear that Krishna is Bhagwan. Where is the doubt? But if I want to bring in my interpretation, my speculation, yes, there will be doubt. Prabhupada again hammered on this. Listen from disciplic succession. Listen to somebody who is in disciplic succession, parampara, not from anybody and everybody. Further, Krishna is saying, Yatha akasha sthito nityam vayu sarvatrago mahan tatha sarvani bhutani masthani iti upadharahe. Understand that as a mighty wind blowing everywhere rests always in the sky, all created beings rest in me. Masthani. For the ordinary person, it is almost inconceivable how the huge material creation is resting in him. But the Lord is giving an example which may help us to understand. The sky may be the biggest manifestation we can conceive. And in that sky, the wind or air is the biggest manifestation in the cosmic world. The movement of the air influences the movements of everything. But although the wind is great, it is still situated within the sky. The wind is not beyond the sky. Similarly, all the wonderful cosmic manifestations are existing by the supreme will of the Lord, and all of them are subordinate to that supreme will. As we generally say, not a blade of grass moves without the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, everything is moving under His will. By His will, everything is being created, everything is being maintained, and everything is being annihilated. Still, He is aloof from everything, as the sky is always aloof from the activities of the wind. Now, there is also this thing, yes, not even a blade of grass moves without the will of the Supreme Lord. Yes, everything is created, everything is moving, everything is annihilated, maintained by His will. Yes. But when the blade of grass moves, that movement, the desire to move is the blade of grass's desire. And then the wind blows and it moves. means also us, when he says everything is been created, maintained, annihilated, but it's a desire of the of the soul, spirit soul, and then the karma is attached, and that's how we take birth. Of course, for us to take birth, everything is arranged by the Lord, but it depends on our desire and karma and our destiny, whatever destiny is. But he's not interfering in our independent will. That is our independent, and that is how we get the karmic reactions. But beyond the will part, we have no control. Even that is very minute control. That's why it's called minute independence. Very, very little. I mean, just like I can desire to be president of the United States, but I don't have that kind of karmic bank balance that can make me a president of the United States. So I'm not going to become. But if I have such a strong desire that I want to be Prime Minister of the United States, I want to be in the White House next life, and I don't have that karma, then maybe I'll become a cockroach in the lawns of White House. Or maybe I will become some servant in the White House. Now it depends on karmic bank balance also. Just an example, not that every president is a very pious person. That's not what I'm saying. In the Upanishads, it is stated, Yadabhisha vata pavate. It is out of fear of the Supreme Lord that the wind is blowing. Fear. Fear, not in the sense that he is a very sadistic person, he's going to punish us, but out of fear of that he is my Supreme Lord, then Vayudev, he knows his position and the position of the Lord. So he makes the wind blow in whichever area, whatever direction, whatever time. Everything is controlled by the supreme order, under the superintendence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The moon, the sun, and the other great planets are moving. So they are not independent. Sun God knows that the sun planet has to go around Mount Sumeru in this orbit at this speed every day without stopping. There he goes. Same thing, Chandradev, moon god. And similarly, Earth planet also. And so many other planets. The whole system is so well designed and controlled by the energy of the Lord. But they all know it's the Supreme Lord who has made this possible, and we have to work accordingly. And they work. And actually, this is where one Acharya said that, like here, it has said everything, the moon, the sun, and the other great planets, and the wind is blowing out of the fear of the Supreme Lord. The whole cosmic creation, manifestation, everybody is working out of the fear of the Lord. And that same Lord is crying, rubbing his eyes again and again, looking at the stick out of fear, looking at the stick in the hands of Mother Yashoda. And that's what he said, this is inconceivable, this is so bewildering. But there is Damodar, he is afraid because he has made a mistake. And because of the love of Mother Yashoda, he's afraid. And here, everything is happening in the whole cosmic manifestation, because they know this is the order of Krishna and we have to act accordingly. In Brahm Samhita also it is stated, Yat Chakshuresha Savita Sakala Grihana. This is a description of the movement of the sun. It is said that the sun is considered to be one of the eyes of the Supreme Lord, and that it has immense potency to diffuse heat and light. Still, it is moving in its prescribed order by the prescribed orbit by the order and the supreme will of Govinda. Yasyagya Brahmati Sambhrit Kala Chakra. So, from the Vedic literature, we can find evidence that this material manifestation, which appears to us to be very wonderful and great, is under the complete control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This will be further explained in the later verses of this chapter. This is Krishna's creation. It doesn't just come from a great big bang. This is what scientists believe in. That in the beginning there was nothing, there was just this big piece. How big? Don't know. Who put it there? We don't know. What is it? What was its composition? We don't know. Just there, it was there. And then the big explosion happened in that big chunk of something. How did that explosion happen? Don't know. Who made that explosion to happen? Don't know. This is the Big Bang Theory. And after the big explosion, all the planets and their moon, satellites, everything, they came into existence and everything is rotating at the particular speed in the particular orbit after the big explosion. And everybody says, yeah, wow, this is true. Nobody asks, how is it possible? It's just like in a printing press, a big explosion happened, and this book, whatever book we have, it just came into existence. Is it possible? So how can the scientists say that, believe that, and this was taught to us in the schools also? And that time didn't have exposure to Prabhupada's books, so didn't know anything, so didn't question whatever the teacher was teaching. I'm sure the teacher didn't know either. How is it possible? Big explosion. And if you just look at planet Earth, because scientists still have no idea what other planets, so planet Earth, so much of variety, mountains, rivers, and land areas, so much of plants and trees and animals and birds, insects, human beings. Everything was formed just because of big explosion. I talked about our body, human being's body. So many organs perfectly fit in their locations inside the body. And those locations don't change from parents to children. They don't change, they remain as it is in the body. And nobody designed it. And there's just one human body. And even in this human body, it's mind-boggling. Recently, one of our devotees here had a triple bypass surgery. So he was explaining, so bypass surgery, Anjali Mata is the doctor, she would know better. They take a vein from one of the thighs and they put it as an artery inside the heart. Means Krishna has created the spare part also inside the body. We keep spare tire in our car, but Krishna has created the spare part because he knows you cannot manufacture this vein outside, so I'll just keep a spare part if you need one. I don't know how doctors found out where the spare part is. That's in the beginning when they did the research. But he has created this. Who could be greater creator than him? And they'd say, oh, everything just came on its own. Nobody made it. How is it possible? Text 7. Sarvabhutani Kaunteya Prakritim Yanti Mamikam Kalpakshe Punastani Kalpado Visrijamyaham. O son of Kunti, at the end of the millennium, all material manifestations enter into my nature. And at the beginning of another millennium, by my potency, I create them again. The creation, maintenance, and annihilation of this material cosmic manifestation are completely dependent on the supreme will of the personality of Godhead. At the end of the millennium means at the death of Brahma. Brahma lives for 100 years, and his one day is calculated as 43 billion of our earthly years. His night is of the same duration. His month consists of 30 such days and nights, and his year of 12 months. After 100 such years, when Brahma dies, the devastation or annihilation takes place. This means that the energy manifested by the Supreme Lord is again wound up in himself. Then again, when there is a need to manifest the cosmic world, it is done by his will. Bahushyam. Although I am one, I shall become many. This is the Vedic aphorism. He expands himself in this material energy, and the whole cosmic manifestation again takes place. So he expands himself. So when he says, Ekoham Dvitya Nasti or Bahushyam, now the impersonalists, they say this means he has become many, means his original identity is gone. But this is their misunderstanding. He never said that original identity is gone. So he can be there, and his energies can create wonderful manifestations, and the living entities, which are his part and parcel, come out and they get different bodies out of this material manifestation, material energies, and they try to control this material energy of the Lord. This is how the material manifestation works. And we think we are same as God. How? And this, he says, is like dissolution, and then again creation. It just happens again and again. Prakritim swam avashtabhya visrijami punah punah bhut gramam imam krishnam avasham prakriter vashat. The whole cosmic order is under me. Under my will, it is automatically manifested again and again. And under my will, it is annihilated at the end. This material world is a manifestation of the inferior energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It's an inferior energy. Superior energy is the spiritual world. And this inferior energy is so mind-boggling, so attractive for us that we don't want to get out of it. Because, first of all, we don't have knowledge of the superior energy, and we don't understand actually we belong there. We think we belong here and try to make this world the best place for us to live in. We're just struggling and fighting, doing every sorts of activity. So this material world is a manifestation of the inferior energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This has already been explained several times. At the creation, the material energy is let loose as a Mahat Tattva, into which the Lord, as his first Purusha incarnation, Mahavishnu, enters. He lies within the causal ocean and breathes out innumerable universes, and into each universe, the Lord again enters as Garbhodaksha Vishnu. Each universe is in that way created. He still further manifests himself as Kshirodaksha Vishnu, and that Vishnu enters into everything, even into the minute atom. This fact is explained here. He enters into everything. but not as Krishna, as Paramatma, whose expansion of Kshirodaksha Vishnu. So when we say expansion means original is there, Kshirodaksha Vishnu, Kshir Sagar on Ananshesha. But he expands himself as Paramatma into each and every atom and the space between atoms. How many atoms are there? It's unlimited, even the phone that I have in front. Unlimited number of atoms. What to speak of the whole universe. So that's how he is everywhere. Now, as far as the living entities are concerned, they are impregnated into this material nature. And as a result of their past deeds, they take different positions. So they take different positions and they take different bodies. 8.4, 84 lakh, 8.4 million yonis. So, as a result of their past deeds, we take different bodies. And different planets and different families. It just works like that. Thus, the activities of the material world begin. The activities of the different species of living beings are begun from the very moment of the creation. Activities of the different species of living beings are begun from the very moment of creation, in 84 lakh yoniya, from the very beginning. It is not that all this is evolved. Darwin's theory of evolution, completely wrong. The different species of life are created immediately along with the universe. Men, animals, beasts, birds, everything is simultaneously created. Because whatever desires the living entities had at the last annihilation are again manifested. So at the time of annihilation, whatever desires we had, so we leave our body and we all stay in the body of Mahavishnu. And when the creation happens again, we come into the body, into this material world. And depending on those desires, that consciousness, we again take the form. And then our karmas, they continue. Karmic reactions, whatever we have to go through, continue. So can we imagine the supercomputer that they have to keep track of every living entity's desires and karmic reactions? Wow. It is clearly indicated here by the word avasham that the living entities have nothing to do with the process. I mean, they have no say. The state of being in the past life, is in the past creation, is simply manifested again. And all of this is done simply by Krishna's will. That yes, it should happen. That's it. Then all his energies come into action and they make it happen. This is the inconceivable potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And after creating different species of life, he has no connection with them. No connection in the sense, personally is not connected. Everybody is going through their life according to their karmic reactions. But as Paramatma, he is sitting in everybody's heart, guiding them. But if we don't take his guidance, then he's just a witness. The creation takes place to accommodate the inclinations of the various living entities, and so the Lord does not become involved with it. So inclinations of the various living entities. So that's why Krishna says later on, Samoham Sarvabhuteshu. I'm equal to everybody. Nobody is dear. I don't envy anybody. Only thing he says, yes, but my devotees, they are special. They are with me, and I am with them. But other than that, and how many devotees are there in the whole world? Most people, 99.9%, I would say, they're not interested in any bhakti, anything. Na cha mam tani karmani nivadananti dhananjaya udasinam asaktam teshu karmasu. O Dhananjaya, all this work cannot bind me. I am ever detached from all these material activities, seated as though neutral. I am ever detached. One should not think in this connection that the Supreme Personality of Godhead has no engagement. In his spiritual world, he is always engaged. They said, Atma Ramasya tasyasi prakritya na samagam. He's always involved in his eternal, blissful spiritual activities, but he has nothing to do with these material activities. Material activities are being carried on by his different potencies. The Lord is always neutral in the material activities of the created world. This neutrality is mentioned here with the word udasinavat. Although he has control over every minute detail of material activities, he is sitting as if neutral. So he has control, but he is neutral. He is not partial to anybody. Example can be given of a high court judge sitting on his bench. By his order, so many things are happening. Someone is being hanged, someone is being put into the jail, someone is awarded a huge amount of wealth, but still he is neutral. He has nothing to do with all that gain and loss. Similarly, the Lord is always neutral, although he has his hand in every sphere of activity. But he is neutral. He is not partial to anyone. Of course, when somebody cheats us and takes away something, we say, "Oh, Bhagavan, why are you being partial and you're awarding him this thing and I don't have this thing," or whatever. But it's our karmic reaction we are going through. That's all. In the Vedanta Sutra, it is stated, Vaishamya Naragrinya. No, he is not situated in the dualities of this material world. He is transcendental to these dualities. Nor is he attached to the creation and annihilation of this material world. The living entities take the different forms in the various species of life according to their past deeds, and the Lord does not interfere with them. So this is a special position. I guess I'll stop here. I'm getting so many calls from India right now. So, see anybody have any questions or comments?
Thank you, Prabhuji. Nice class.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mata.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. Chalo, you all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.